I do want to say also, I'm sorry to Kiana. That was not something I wanted to happen at our event. So I'm sorry that you went through that.
Okay.
Truly.
Do you accept that?
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like Ashley is the queen of, the aftermath apologies when it comes to these situations.
Okay.
I accept that you are big enough to apologize, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna be center. I'm gonna.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Bree. Thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my episode recaps. And as always, I'm here to discuss the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, Episode 21, titled Reunion Part 3. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Okay, so for Part 3, of course, I got mad all over again. I don't feel it was as strong as Part 2, but I still got a lot to say. So again, this is going to be a rant / recap. And yeah, I'm just going to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about what I thought of the reunion, the lies, of course, that was being spewed. So anyway, let me just stop talking. So we start this episode off with, of course, it left us on a cliffhanger of last week's episode, which was in Part 2. So we learn that Gordon, Mia's husband, says that he has been diagnosed with bipolar 1, which is a little bit different from bipolar. So he was kind of explaining it as if, with this condition, it's more like a manic type of stage in like episodes that he goes through. So he was explaining that. So he says that it got worse over the years. And then he starts talking about Mia, saying that he believes she had been having an affair during times throughout their marriage, but he didn't believe that it was for their entire marriage that she's been having an affair. So then he says, y'all, that he thinks, the reason why Mia left me is because of the bipolar. It had nothing to do with something. And I'm just like, gee, you must think somebody's stupid.
And that's just how it felt.
Really?
She's explaining it to you.
Yeah, I'm just saying really.
I really don't believe it has anything to do with him being bipolar. I don't. So anyway, y'all, he keeps talking about Mia. And in a way, he was kind of praising her, saying like she was a good wife. She was there for me, all that jazz, right? So you could definitely tell G is definitely trying to win can't even talk. He's definitely trying to win Mia back. But I don't know, y'all. I just have to be honest. Something about that segment seemed very not genuine to me. I don't know what he has. I'm not diagnosing anyone, but it's just something about that story don't sit right with me, and I'm going to just leave it at that. So anyway, Andy starts going on talking to them about, the state of their marriage. So G talks about how he cool with her boyfriend. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I love the fact how we're putting out this narrative that it's okay to be committing adultery, have a whole husband and a boyfriend as well. But yeah, y'all don't want me to get on that. But I just love how everybody, society makes it seem like, oh yeah, girl, you got a whole husband and a boyfriend too? Girl, you better get it. Are you kidding me? So now adultery is cool. Now adultery is right. And it's no longer wrong, okay? But see, y'all don't want me to get into that. But anyway, so basically G says that he's cordial with Mia's boyfriend. And he says, along with his family, the whole thing about him getting fired, all of that. He says that he's in a better place with his family. And he was never fired per se from the company. He was just terminated from his position as CEO and lost his pay, his salary for that position, but that he is still part owner of the company and he still has his shares. So That's what that is about. To be honest, I thought, they completely kicked him and Mia out, but according to what he said, he's still kind of there. So, yeah. So, next, we move on and we see NECA's segment. So, they do a flashback, you know how they do, and, Andy starts asking questions. So, she does explain, Andy does ask, how was your journey, getting pregnant? And so she said the IUI procedure that they had that we last saw on the show did not work, but they're now going to start the IVF journey. And she even thanked Candace for, sending her resources and information about it. So Andy says that he wants to make this clear. Production was not aware about this shrine situation between her and Wendy, and that production really wanted NECA on the show through Wendy. Basically, Wendy bringing her on the show, saying like, hey, this is my friend, blah, blah, blah. Okay, pause. My thing is this. I don't care, production, if you didn't know about the shrine situation, but why would you still film it? And then, most importantly, why would you show it for many episodes throughout the season? Like, get the freak up out of here. Y'all over here trying to save face because of the backlash you received from the fans and the viewers. So, production, you don't skate by from this because you could have easily chopped that storyline. That's really the only thing we know about NECA, really. She hasn't talked really about her upbringing. She's, mentioned it a little bit, but you could have given her a completely different storyline. Y'all think y'all slick trying to go after Wendy. And we're going to get into Ashley too, who has a lot to do with this and who started this in the first place because she's so darn hateful.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Anyway, so Andy says to Wendy, NECA implied that she knows you. So Wendy's like, you know what? No, let me get y'all together with that. So she's like, Andy, I don't know her. So NECA says, I told production that I don't know her, but I did tell them I've met her before. So NECA explains how they met. Basically, they met at a concert or something, and they do have mutual people in common. And so Wendy says something about, oh, but NECA, you just said that you know me. She was like, I didn't say that I know you. I'm just saying that I've met you. And to me, Wendy has every right to tell production, look, I'm not bringing her onto the show. I don't know her. Just because you've met somebody a few times doesn't mean you really, really know them. You haven't really had meaningful conversations like that. You probably have had, introductory conversations like, hi, how are you? Where you're from? That's it. What do you do for stuff like that? But that doesn't mean you really know the core person. They're not friends, things of that nature. And so Wendy's like, I'm not going to put my neck out there and tell production, yeah, bring her on the show. I don't know her. And also, too, you shouldn't do that anyway, because if you don't know that person really, you don't know what their character would be like. You don't know the dissension and the discourse they could cause on the show. And then everybody's looking at you crazy because you referred this person. So I don't blame Wendy on that. So anyway, so then they bring up the whole Osu thing. So Andy asks, what does Osu mean to Wendy? And she says, well, since Ashley is the one that brought it to this platform, she should answer it. So here comes Ashley. And I'm going to just choose my words lightly, y'all, with Ashley. And I said it in my last Rant recap video. I peeped Ashley since season 3, and that's when I did not like her. And I have been telling people that girl has evil ways. She does things. She is just not a good person, a nice person. I will say that. But anyway, let me get off that tangent. So after Wendy turns to Ashley, Ashley says, well, I didn't know what it was, but I do know that it is culturally sensitive. So, chick, if you didn't know what Osu was, what was your intentions on bringing that to NECA? Like, you were sitting there trying to start stuff. And this is I'm going to tell all y'all who are listening to me. do not, okay, let me say this. Let me say it without being loud. Do not let Ashley fool you. And this is how I peeped it from season 3. Ashley tries to hide behind her bubbly personality. So to your natural eye and to your natural senses, you may think, oh, Ashley's not a bad person because she doesn't come in the form of what you think evil looks like. Evil isn't always ugly looking or portrays as like a dark force. Sometimes evil can deceive you into looking like an angel when it's not. And I want you guys to really, really understand this, because if you go back to previous seasons and have seen what Ashley has done, what she's done to Monique, telling people, oh, the reason why she had a miscarriage is because she was drinking. That's why she got into that little car accident. The way she ran Katie off the show when they had their girls trip, and she said all those things to Katie. Like the way, of course, she's so envious and jealous of Candace. You really need to see her character and her ways. But I think a lot of times people get blindsided based on Ashley's bubbly personality. And like I said before, evil doesn't always come in the form of it being ugly or, to your senses and eyes, dark. It can also appear as it's an angel and it's lighthearted and it's fun, but it's still deception, and the enemy deceives you that way as well. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I think the reason why a lot of times people don't peep Ashley's game is just how she comes off. But anyway, let me get off that, right? So Andy asked Ashley, he's like, well, why did you even bring it up? And so Ashley says, well, it was brought up to me, and, I did talk to NECA about it. So Ashley, who brought this up to you is what I'm trying to understand. Do you have friends that are in that community? Because and even if anybody did bring it up to you, why did you feel the need to go to NECA, who honestly really doesn't know Wendy like that, to start mess? Like, why would you do that? There could have been maybe some chance of NECA and Wendy becoming friendly, I'll say, and maybe forming a friendship on the show. But that was all under the bridge because you came in starting between them. And you know exactly what you did. Like, get the freak out of here. Anyway. So as Ashley's explaining that, right, you could just tell Wendy was so mad at Ashley. And it's like, I'm glad, Wendy, now that you see who the real culprit is, like, that doesn't excuse NECA for what she's done. However, Ashley is the one that produced the seed of contention. So they talk about that. And so NECA apologizes to Wendy. But she does say that, I wanted to move forward with her, but Wendy keeps icing me out. And so Wendy says, you know what, Andy, I can coexist with her, but basically there is no friendship. I think with Wendy, there's no coming back from it because, if you do think about it, someone is saying that your mother does this and does that, because I'm not even going to repeat it. And it's just a part of, that taboo thing that they've talked about. It's kind of hard to segue some type of friendship, but you can be cordial associates, things of that nature. So I'm not giving Wendy no trouble for that. Shoot. Anyway, so next, Kiarna arrives on set and she sits with the ladies. She's sitting in between Candace and Wendy. And so she basically tells Andy, this season I had fun filming with all of the ladies. And we kind of get a glimpse into Kiarna's background. So we find out that Wendy and Kiarna met a few years ago, that I believe they said they have a mutual best friend or something. And that's how they were introduced. Guys, don't quote me if I'm wrong. Charge it to my head, not my heart. So that's how they've met, and they've always supported each other in business. And then, of course, we already know that Wendy introduced Kiarna to Candace. And so Kiarna's like, Candace is my girl. I really like her. Things like that. So the three of them, you can tell they have a good rapport and they're cool with each other. So next we get to Wendy's segment. Of course, y'all know they do the flashback of what happened throughout the season. And so Andy asked her questions about, how is your husband's business coming along? The Happy Eddie, line. So she said, oh, it's doing, really well and amazing. He's like partnered with a really big company, I guess, or an investor, something like that. And basically it's going to be big. And of course, we already know from the previous episode that his company made $2 million in sales. And then Andy brings up, why do you have so many jobs? And I'm like, hello, do you not know we should have 7 streams of income and maybe more? So I'm like, Andy, that's a given. Like, anyway. So, or I think he might have read a fan question about that. But anyway, it was brought up to her. So she's saying, why can't I be multifaceted? I like being a professor, but I also want to do other things. And that's why I've jumped out and have started multiple businesses. I have multiple jobs. And she talks about her accomplishments, things like that. And my thing is, so what? And my thing is, you can't depend on no Real Housewives check. You just can't. Even if you are making a lot of money, still, that you should actually use that platform to your advantage. And I feel as though if we're talking about this show, Candace has done a great job with that. I don't believe she's hurting for money or anything of that nature. And I feel like it was, much easier for her to walk away, as opposed to some people on the show who this is their main source of income. And Wendy, she has her education, she has her job, so she's another one that doesn't really need it. And I like that they did highlight her talk show. It looks very professional, very right. So I did like that. We get on over to Ashley, right? She starts talking about, the state of her divorce. And everybody's basically like, girl, you're not getting divorced. So she tells everybody, this time I am certainly going to. Probably last year I was just sitting on it because I still loved him. And at that time he was being nice to me. But now she says that they're in a contentious state and she's tired of being on a roller coaster with him. So now she says she filed a complaint to file for a divorce. And she says, in the past I was dependent on Michael, but it is what it is. So anyway, we can move right along. We don't need to talk about Ashley's segment.
Absolutely not.
So guys, this is where we get to the part where I'm really going to rant here. So of course, Andy brings up the altercation that happened on the season finale between Candace and Deborah, right? So Kiarna says, I just feel as though Deborah came there with an intention, which she did. And I believe Ashley has something to do with it. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I don't believe. Because my thing is this, y'all. How are you going to say, oh, is the cameras down? Why do you care if the camera's down or not? When someone says that to me, it's though they don't want the camera crew to capture something that's about to happen, because it doesn't make sense why you would say, are the cameras down? I've seen it in other housewife franchise, like for instance, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, when they had that trip, in South Carolina, they were having a bachelorette trip for Cynthia, and they had that stripper over there, and Portia was like, oh, they were all hiding, putting sheets and stuff over the cameras because they didn't want anything captured. So my thing is this, Ashley, why would you say that if there was no ill intention behind it? It doesn't make sense for you to even say that. So anyway, so they start talking about that, and Kiarna says that she was assaulted by Deborah because she said she saw Deborah from the corner of her eyes basically charging at Candace, and she was trying to stop her like, yo, chill. And I will even say this, Mia even said that Deborah was aggressive that night. She said that Deborah even went up to her and said something about like, oh, am I still, a 4? Are you still rating me as a 4? And so Mia said, well, I kind of said something to kind of ease the tension between us and kind of, have her laugh at it. And then she's going to turn around to Candace and say, maybe that's what you should have done. Candace is like, absolutely not. What are you talking about? So Candace recalls what happened. She says, here I am dancing, having a good time with my friends. Then all of a sudden, Deborah comes over to me and says like, oh, do you have anything to say now since I'm in your face? What you got to say now? What was it that you said? And she said, I said to her, no, get out of my face. Get this varmint out of my face.
Hold on, wait. Let me fix my wig and myself, because I'm so tired of everybody talking about some, hold on.
And then all of a sudden, of course, she's feeling threatened. And that's why she picked up the champagne bottle, because let's be real, y'all. Everybody kind of picks on Candace, including Monique, who wanted to fight her because Candace is 5'1" and she's very little. She's small. So they figure she's an easy target. You don't know what that girl was going to do to her. She had to defend herself. And let me tell y'all, many of you guys would be doing the same. So I don't want to hear that.
I don't need no lecture from you. I have to conduct myself in this house.
So anyway, she explains that to Andy. And she said, Andy, I didn't call this girl names out of nowhere. It's not as though Candace shouted across the room, vermin, or whatever she was saying to her. She said she came in my space in a threatening way. And I'm telling her, get out of my face. And that's why I called her that. And first of all, Mia, don't be telling Candace what she should and shouldn't say. How the heck you going to tell somebody how to react? Oh, but should we tell you how you should have reacted when you threw that drink on Wendy last season? Yeah, I thought so. It's so funny that Candace gets blamed for everything. So then, y'all, this really took the cake right here, right? So Andy turns to Giselle and says, what do you think? Who do you think is responsible for this fight? And I'm sitting here like, are you serious, Andy? First of all, Giselle wasn't even there, so her opinion is irrelevant. She didn't see anything. So why are you even asking her? So you think you slick too. And I'm telling you, I have no problem with you, Andy. No one at the network, but I have to tell you the truth. I'm actually telling you the truth in love, so that the next time you have a reunion with RHOP or any other franchise, you know the right questions to ask. You know the right thing to do. Because I did get on you in my last recap, but I'm going to be cool with you on this. So anyway, he's going to ask Giselle that, right? So then Giselle says, well, I think who's responsible is Wendy, Candace, Kiana, and Deborah. So they're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Wendy said, how in the world am I responsible when I tried to break up the fight? I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? And so everybody's trying to tell Giselle, why are you even bringing Wendy into this? So then she says, well, you know what? I take it back. And then Mia turns around and says, she did say she took it back. Girl, shut up. Ain't nobody talking to you. Sorry, Laura. I don't mean to be telling people to shut up, but it's like, what fairy tale land are these people living in? So I was too through when Andy sat up there and had Giselle comment on that situation. So, of course, Candace, is getting emotional as she should. She said, first of all, I don't even expect for no one to fight for me. I am on my own. I don't expect anyone to fight for me. I'm on my own. And she kind of starts crying. And can you imagine how that feels? Your own castmates don't have your back. Now, Wendy and Kiana did. But the majority of your castmates who see you physically about to get harmed doesn't have your back. Production definitely doesn't have your back. They sit and gaslight the freak out of you. Andy doesn't have your back. You could just tell. And she wasn't just saying that to her castmates. She was letting Andy know and letting production know. Nobody has my back. I don't expect none of y'all to fight for me. I got to fight for myself. As she should. Anyway, So that made me mad. And I was just like, how dare you, Giselle? How dare you? I said, you have all that hate in your heart for somebody, for Wendy and Candace, that you can't stand them that bad, that you would sit there and blame them for something that they did not cause at all. Wendy was trying to break it up, and Candace is trying to defend herself. She didn't say not one word to that girl. That girl came over there to start with her. And Ashley, you sit your tail up there trying to act all oblivious as to, well, I don't know why Deborah would even say something. Oh, then they show talking about, they do a flashback of Ashley's confessional saying, well, maybe, Candace needs to watch what she says, because she can just hit below the belt. She can just go too low sometimes. I said, girl, are you out of your mind? All of y'all, everybody on that stage has always said something slick to someone else, have said really mean things. Oh, are we going to forget about people assaulting people? How Mia did that to Wendy, and her behind should have been off the show. Get the freak up out of here. No, you know what it is? Y'all, I'm telling you, Ashley is so jealous and envious of Candace. She always was from the very beginning. She has a husband who actually loves her. He doesn't exploit her by having threesomes and all this foolishness in a marriage with all this adultery mess. Her career is flourishing. God is definitely blessing her with her career. And shout out to Candace, who announced this week that she's pregnant. So, that's even making them even really mad. She's having acting gigs. Her music career is going well. So, yeah, she's jealous. And they can't stand that this girl comes from money. It's like, how dare a dark-skinned woman come from that? And it's like, this is what you want. You want generational wealth to where you can buy your children a house, that they don't have to depend on anything. And y'all can't stand it. Don't let me get into the colorism thing, because I know a lot of content creators have talked about it, but y'all are envious of that girl. You, Giselle, you, Ashley, and maybe you, Robin, because we all know what Juan does to you. He treats you like crap. Let me not go there again, because I already got on you about that in my last recap. Anyway, so Ashley talks about, well, I didn't invite Deborah to be messy. So then she apologizes to Kiana, and she's like, I'm sorry that happened, that you were physically assaulted. It wasn't my intention for any of that to happen there.
I told you it was a legitimate mistake.
So Kiana says, and I love it. Ooh, Kiana got her together. So she says, I think Andy asked, do you accept her apology, Kay? So Kiana says, well, Ashley is the aftermath queen of apologies. And I was like, get her. Because Kiana's like, no, y'all not about to play me. Like, I may want to be on this show, but I'm going to hold my own. And I like Kiana. She goes, I'm going to hold my own. And I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I don't care if either of you like it. I'm not scared to say how I feel and how I reacted in that moment.
Now, who can't run? Who can't run? Yeah. Who ain't got speed? Play with your mama, not me. And that's on who? That's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm tired.
And she's saying, I don't believe you, Ashley. You're full of crap. And I believe it was a setup. And girl, I don't trust you. You can get out of here. Bye. So anyway, that's what happens. Then all of a sudden, Giselle and Karen telling Andy they have a surprise for him. And they bring out a crown. And basically saying that Andy's now the Duke of Potomac. But anyway, y'all, that was the end of Reunion Part 3. Guys, I'm so happy that this show is done. I'm very interested to know how season 9 is going to be. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it. I think I'm pretty much to the point I'm not. Especially, I don't want to see Giselle's face. Candace is not even there. I love Wendy. I want to support her, but I can't deal with this. And I know a lot of you guys can't. This show is so dark, toxic, colorist, mean, hateful, spirited people on this cast. If they don't do an immediate revamp of this cast, it's not making the season 10. And they're going to be put on hiatus for a very long time. It may not even come back. And Giselle, all I can say is I'm going to pray for you. Seriously. For you to have so much wickedness in your heart and hate for Candace, it is a very sad day. Candace is not a hateful, evil person. She may gather you together and you can't stand that because Candace is very intelligent. She's very quick-witted. I love quick-witted people. She can just think of a read like that and you guys can't stand it. My thing is, if something were to happen to you, I don't believe Candace would blame that on you. For you to sit there and blame that girl who was minding her own business, shame on you. Instead of you letting it go and making amends with Candace and Wendy, especially Candace, you would let this, not because you don't let anything. And that's another thing. Stop acting like you run Potomac. You don't. That you would sacrifice the well-being of the show because of how you are. And somebody, I forgot who said this. It was another content creator. I was watching their recap. They said when Robin is not around Giselle and she's with the other girls, Robin is more pleasant. She's not mean-spirited. She's not none of that. And I thought about it and I said, you know what? That is right. But as soon as Giselle comes around, and I said it in one of my recaps, like a few episodes back for this season, when they had all went, they were in Austin and they all went canoeing and stuff, and how it was Mia, Candace, Wendy, and Ashley. They were all having fun with each other. Whenever Giselle is around any of the girls, some of the girls act different and start acting like Giselle, mean. And it is really sad to know how, and that's why it's so true when God says in his words, bad company corrupts good behavior. It is so true. Giselle is bad company. And if you notice, when other girls are around her, they start putting on her aura. And that needs to go. So I'm glad the show is done, y'all. I don't have to deal with this recapping it for a while. I don't know, guys, if I'm even going to come back for season 9 to recap it. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little curious to see how this is going to play out a little bit now that Candace and Robin are gone. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another one of my episode recaps. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you can be informed whenever I upload a new video. Also, too, comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on part 3 of this reunion. What did you think about Giselle sitting up here blaming the 4 of them for that altercation? What do you guys think about Ashley? To me, she skated on by. Andy did not ask her very hard, tough questions at all. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. NECA, y'all just talk to me down there because I love to interact with you guys. It's so much fun. And shout out to those who even disagree with me. You guys haven't been disrespectful. It's been pretty good down in the comments on the last reunion recap that I did. So even shout out to y'all who don't even, agree with me or don't like Candace or Wendy. At least you guys were respectful. So that's all I can, say. I'm very impressed because I hear about other content creators' comment section when it comes to Potomac, and it's not so good. So thank you, Lord, that mine has been pretty positive for those who don't agree with me or of my other commentators down below and subscribers. So, and thank you to all the new subscribers I'm getting. Thank you guys for pushing my last video out and for subscribing. You guys are the MVPs, and I'm so grateful to all my current subscribers as well who've been with me from day one. I'm very appreciative of all you guys. And before you guys go, I'd love to say a prayer over you. And so here it goes. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord give you his favor, his peace, and protection. This is my prayer over your life in Jesus' name. Amen. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in my next recap. And yeah, bye.